right, we're gonna see how much I can make in a 4-hour shift driving for Domino's on a Tuesday night. It's in January 2025. I'm starting at 5 p.m. and going until 6 p.m. So we'll see how the shift goes tonight. I'll keep you posted. I've got my coffee from home. This probably doesn't look very appetizing sitting in a plastic cup, but it's just instant coffee and heavy cream. I'm on the ketogenic diet, and so I'm not allowed to have like sweeteners and carb heavy creamers and things like that. And I don't miss them that much, because if you put just maybe a couple of tablespoons of heavy cream in coffee, for me it not flavors it, but it makes it creamy and kind of gives it that milky taste of like a latte. And so it's just right, and that's going to keep me going for my 4-hour shift. So that was my very first delivery. That was, let's see, I just finished at 5:31, and it was just 2 items, and it was a $5.92 tip, which is very good. I would say that's definitely above average, and I think the order was like maybe a little over 20 bucks, something like that. So yeah, that's well over a 25% tip. It's a good way to start the night. I've got to really be careful on this road, which is a main road back to my Domino's location. It is really torn up bad. I've seen people fall off of this road. They have like half of the road maybe a foot lower than the other roads, just a sudden drop off. So kind of a treacherous path. Right now, gas near me is $2.59 a gallon. In this area, Domino's reimburses, I think it's 40 cents per mile. That might fluctuate a little bit. So there are 3 streams of income for Domino's drivers in my area, and the three streams of income, or really the main 3 streams of income, are your hourly wage, which is $4.50 if you're on the road, or $7.50 if you're in store. The second stream of income is tips, which come either digitally if it's a online paid order, or by cash. And then the third source of income is reimbursement for mileage, which I think is 40 cents per mile is what you get. So that's kind of cool that there are three sources of income. And then there's also like a little bit of a credit for data used while you're out driving. I don't know exactly how they calculate that, but it comes out to very little per paycheck. Okay, I'm back to the store now, and I'm gonna pick up my second delivery. Hopefully there's something waiting for me, and I just saw that there is not. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time in store, but we'll see what comes in. I arrived back from my first delivery to a very beautiful site, which is a completely empty little side road where the drivers park, which means that it is a busy night so far. They were all on the road. And when I got inside the store, there were 5 deliveries, and 2 of them were kind of close to each other. They're about a 10-minute drive. So I went ahead and took a double, and I'm excited about that. Doubles are great. Doubles are what you want. You get 2 orders, and you don't have to come back to the store. You deliver one and then deliver the other right back to back. And it's a way to make more money, so that's good. I'll let you know how it goes. My car is a 2013 Honda Civic, and it has about, well, let's see here. It has about 233,000 miles on it. It says I get about 26 miles to the gallon on average, and I think that's probably, since I started Domino's, that went down a bit. It used to be like in the 30 range, 32 maybe, but driving all these back roads and stuff, it's just not as efficient as doing highway driving like I used to. It's been a great car, and it's been really reliable for this job. So I recommend a Honda Civic if you can get your hands on one for driving. I've been driving for Domino's for almost 4 months now, and it's been a very, very good part-time side hustle for me, a little part-time gig. I generally make between like $15 and $20 an hour. I've never had a night where I just got no tips or something like that. Had some nights where I came close, where I only made like, you know, 12 bucks in tips for a 4-hour shift, or 20 bucks. But most nights, I would say I average between 15 and maybe $21 or $22 an hour. But one of the things that's kind of interesting to me is it's been a little bit unpredictable about what nights will be good nights. You know, like I worked the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson night when they had their fight on Netflix, and that was a predictably busy night. Like all the managers were talking about how it was just going to be crazy and that they needed all these drivers, and they were right about that. Like I think I made, in 4 hours, I made like $120 that night. So that was a fantastic night. But then, you know, sometimes like when the Dallas Cowboys will play, that could be a good night, or sometimes it's a terrible night. It's just really strange. It's kind of unpredictable. So right now we're on the first leg of our double order, and it was about a 10-minute drive to get out here. And this is an online paid order, which most of them are. It's kind of, we do accept cash in our restaurant, and we do take not paid orders, so you'll show up and you have to take cash from the customer, which I generally don't like, but it can mean better tips. Sometimes people paying with cash will just by default give you a tip because they don't want to mess with change and all that. But yeah, so we're on this first leg of our double, and we'll see what kind of tip they give. It's not a huge order. Here we go. Turning on to Zelda Drive. So that was the first of our 2 deliveries on our double, and they left us a $4 and something tip, which, you know, for a 10-minute drive, that's not bad. So now it's just a few minutes drive to our next location. The vast majority of my customers tend to be apartment dwellers and not homeowners. So I don't know what that statistic might mean to you, but there it is. It does make me wonder sometimes if people in apartments spent less on having food delivered because it is very expensive, if maybe they might be homeowners. That went well. Both of those went well. That was a $37 order, and it was only a $2 tip, but it was right next to my other location, just a couple of minutes away. So that's not so bad. So far, we have worked for exactly an hour. It is 6 on the dot, and we have made $12.02 in tips. I'll try and remember to screenshot that and include it in the video. This is Cheerwine Zero, delicious. Best soda by far, in my opinion, but kind of hard to find. But yeah, we made $12.02 in 1 hour. Again, that is just our tips. So we're gonna get $4.50 for being on the road. We've been on the road most of the time. And then we're gonna get that $12.02. And then our mileage reimbursement, I think I've done around like 11 miles. And 11 miles at 40 cents per mile is what, like $4.40, something like that. So you do the math, and that's, you know, over $20 that we've made in 1 hour, if I'm doing the math correctly. Of course, you're going to have to factor in taxes to that, but for that first hour, we did very well. I would qualify this as a good night so far, and it has a potential to be a great night. What we want to see when we get back to our location is we want to see no cars in the little side strip where the drivers are lined up. That would be a wonderful thing to see. And then as we pull by, I'm able to see that top rack, and I'm hoping that there are orders on that top rack. That will mean it's going to be another good hour if there are orders on that top rack and no drivers in the slots. That's what we're hoping for. That last customer of our double had 2 corgis. Well, one was a full corgi and one was a half corgi. And that got me excited because my wife and I have a Pembroke Welsh Corgi, a tricolor named Fuji. And so it was nice to talk to a fellow Corgi owner, and she was very sweet. And I am very sympathetic or empathetic. I can't remember which one to use in this situation. I know her pain because they're very bossy dogs with big personalities, which makes them fun, but they're bossy. And they shed terribly. I remember after we bought our Corgi, I noticed that she was shedding a lot, and I Googled what are the worst shedding dogs, and number 1 was a German Shepherd, and number 2 was a Pembroke Welsh Corgi. And that's something you find out after you're already in the thick of it, in the thick of all the fur. Okay, I am pulling into my store right now, and let's see what we see. Oh boy. Okay, there was one driver here, and they just pulled off as I'm pulling up, so it is an empty side spot. No deliveries on the top rack. That's okay. Something will come in, and we are going to be the next in queue to take it. I am here, and I am ready. I gotta say, I am pleased by the direction of the night so far. It is 6:11 p.m., so we've been on the clock for a little over an hour. We took that first order, and then we took a double, so we've done 3 orders. I got back to the store, and that driver, there was only one driver in the store, and they were leaving as I was pulling in. There was a delivery waiting for me. I had just come out of the oven, just one pizza. It's a 4-minute drive. 4th order of the night. This is good. We're doing good. One thing that's, I guess, kind of peculiar about me is when you go and grab an order, or when a manager assigns you an order as a driver, it will print out the receipt for the order that says like the card payment details and how much you got tipped for the order. So you can know how much you got tipped by looking at that receipt. I don't like to look at the receipt. All the other drivers love to look at the receipt and see what they got tipped before they go deliver. I like to be surprised by it. And I found that if I look at the receipt before I go on delivery and I get stiffed or something, it can be kind of demotivating. It makes me just sad for the entire drive. So I stopped looking at the receipt, and I'm a happier person. And yeah, hopefully I'm blessed by that decision. We'll see. So that was a delivery to a school, and I think it was one of the teachers at the school, and I had never delivered there before. I don't know why, but I had just a bad feeling about that order, that I was going to get stiffed on it. But she tipped me $3.08 for like a $10 order. It's not so bad. That's pretty good. That's really good. So that's our 4th order of the night, and we're cooking. Headed back to my store, and it is 6:20 p.m. But yeah, we're sitting at like $15 in tips, which is great. About a week and a half ago, I worked for a nearby store, which they'll send me to sometimes when like a driver calls in sick or something and they're shorthanded. And it was just like a weird night. Usually when I work that store, it's very busy and I make good money. Like I worked there for the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight and made really good money. I worked there another time. I think this was the 3rd time I had worked there, but the first time I worked there, I made like over $100. And you know, if they're short-handed, that means that you're going to do a lot of deliveries that night. But this time, this 3rd time that I was sent there, just nothing came in. They just had me washing dishes all night, which was not the end of the world, but they were having plumbing issues. So like the floor was all greasy with grease water, and we had to keep draining the basin, the main sink basin, which was just full of greasy water. And so that was kind of unpleasant. But also, like, the way that the night started was we came in and they told us immediately that drivers were being robbed in the area. Have a good night. I got back to the store and one of the drivers was leaving right then, and there were 3 deliveries waiting and there were 2 drivers coming back, so I went ahead and took the next one that was up. It's about a 4-minute drive, and there are 3 pizzas in this order. Let me see here. It's a $28 order, so we'll see how they tip us. Again, I don't like to look at my receipts and see the tips ahead of time. I like to be surprised by that. And yeah. So that went pretty good. That was an apartment delivery. We haven't had a ton of apartments tonight, which has been nice. You always prefer houses. They're easier to get to. And that was a $28 order. She only left us a $2 tip, but that's okay. That's not bad. It was only a 4-minute drive, so we'll take it. And I'll be back to the store in a couple of minutes and we'll see what's waiting for us. I think earlier I was talking about going to that other store and delivering on the night when it was just very slow and they had me doing dishes most of the night. And that whole night started with them telling us that area drivers were being robbed. And so that was just a very unnerving way to start. I didn't see anything suspicious that night, but that does always kind of sit in the back of my mind that that's a possibility. And I haven't had many like scary interactions with people. There was one time that I delivered to a business and I pulled up to the gate and the gate was shut and everything was locked up. And so I called the guy who had delivered and, I was going to ask him for the gate code, and he said, "Oh, I'll be right there." And nobody came out from the business, but he came around and he was just like in a hoodie. He didn't come from the business, but he sent me to the business. But he came around the side of the gate and to the back of my car. And I put my keys between my knuckles like this, and I was just ready for whatever came. So that was a little bit scary, but ultimately it was fine. And I think he tipped me pretty good. I think he tipped me like $6. So, yeah, we're supposed to technically, I think, report cases like that where it's kind of a shady interaction. I probably should have reported him. I don't think that I did, but he was nice. I don't think people are supposed to do that, to send us to businesses, where they don't work. And maybe he did work there. I don't know, but he didn't come from the gate and come from the business. So that made me a little bit nervous, but I haven't had too many things happen like that. I'm back to the store now and there are 4 drivers here. So I think we're going to be in the store for a while. Hopefully something comes in soon and we're not just sitting here and, serving as in-store employees. We're hired to drive, so hopefully we get to drive. I'll check in with you later. It is 6:42 right now. Well, I was only in the store for 3 minutes. That was great. There were 4 drivers back, but there were, I think, 5 deliveries lined up. So we were all sent out very quickly. I think we just all kind of arrived back at the store around the same time from our last deliveries. So yeah, this night is, we've been cooking along. This is a good one. What's going on with me? I work full-time as a graphic designer, and I work for Domino's just part-time. It's usually between like 12 and 20 hours a week, usually closer to 12. I think I work 3 shifts most weeks. And the reason I took this job is because my wife had been talking for a while about wanting to leave her job. She's been there about a decade, and it just her job got to the point where it was just so stressful that it's almost an untenable position for her. The amount of responsibility that's put on her shoulders, and just the amount of work that has been piling up for her is just something that causes her tremendous stress. But I could, about 4 months ago, I could really see the writing on the wall. I knew that she needed to go, and that it would be best for her. And so she is about to put in her 2 weeks notice. Went ahead and decided around the beginning of the year that it was time for her to leave. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the 10 years that she put into that job. It's hard to watch somebody you love go through something that they consider a nightmare day to day. And I know that she did it because she loves me, and she wants what's best for us. And she did what she had to do to help us take care of our family, and be able to pay for our home. And so I'm grateful to her, and I hope that this new chapter of her life brings some peace and some relief for her from the tremendous anxiety that she's been through over the past 10 years. But yeah, so I decided to go ahead and get a part-time job, and I'm just tremendously thankful that Domino's came through. It was kind of odd how it happened, because I was just poking around on Indeed and just looking to see what there was out there for part-time jobs. And I remember Domino's coming up, and I just clicked like, I'm interested, let me see more. And I was just reading about it. I never actually applied. I had just clicked I'm interested. And then about a week later, I got a call from the store that I work at now, from the manager, and she said, we're looking for drivers. Are you still interested? And would you come in for an interview? And I said, sure. And it was one of those things, I didn't actively apply, so I didn't expect that anything would necessarily come from it. I was just curious. And, but man, I'm glad it came through, because it's been a really, really good part-time job for us, and it's going to help us, make it through at least this year. And I'll probably have to pick up more hours once my wife leaves her job. And I'm hoping that there are more hours available for me when we need them. We got our first stiff of the night. Bummer. It had been rolling pretty good tonight. Everybody was tipping, and I thought maybe this will be a golden night where we just never get stiffed. But no, it happened. It was a $17 order to an apartment. And, I hate to say that I can tell when somebody is stiffing me when I deliver to them, but I could kind of tell, this person didn't want to make eye contact with me and just kind of looked down at their feet the entire time. And I thought, they're probably stiffing me. But you don't want to judge that. But sometimes you can tell. But that's okay. We'll make it up through the course of the night, and we've been doing well enough that it's all going to balance out. I'm back to the store. There are 2 other drivers here. We'll see what's waiting for us. It is 7:08. I was only in the store for a few minutes, and there were deliveries. There were 2 drivers who were off the queue. One who had to take an order that was sent to the wrong apartment, and then one who I think had to stay in store to help on the ovens. So they sent me out next, and I've got a 4-minute drive, slated to be there at 7-Eleven. And this is a $30.20 order, so we'll see what kind of a tip we get with that. $2 tip, 4-minute drive on that one. Not terrible, not great. Honestly, if everybody tipped like $2 or $3, then you really wouldn't have a bad night. I mean, if you did, over a dozen deliveries, you make between 24 and 30 bucks every night. That wouldn't be terrible. Thankfully, that apartment was numbered really well. The complex had a good numbering system, and it was easy to find the unit that I had to go to. Some apartments seemed like they were designed to be confusing. I remember going to one complex where each building had a letter assigned to it, and then within each letter of building there were the numbered units. And like letter J was all the way on the west side of the complex, and letter H was all the way on the east side of the complex. So I just had to call the customer because I could not find the letter unit, or the letter of the building that they were in. Just like, who designed it to be like this? It seems like there's a better way. Almost back to the store now. Okay, I just got routed on a 7-minute drive, so we're going to be on the road for just a little bit. Most of the orders that we take are, between like a 5-minute and 11-minute drive. Most of them are closer to 5 minutes, but we do deliver. There was one time I had an apartment that was 20 minutes away, and I think that that order was technically supposed to go to another store that was closer to them, but for some reason it got routed to our store, and I got stiffed on that order too. That was awful. No fun. All right, that was good. We got a $6.22 tip on not a huge order. It was like 20 something dollars. Yeah, $6.22. That is a very respectable, good tip. And that brings our total up a bit. I haven't looked back at my app to see what our total is just yet, but I think we're sitting at 20 something, 22 or 23 bucks, somewhere around there. Something weird kind of happened when I was there. I got a rock in my shoe when I was walking up to their driveway, but I didn't want to take my shoe off like as I was delivering their pizza. So I just walked with a rock in my shoe, and it was very painful. It was stabbing me big time. But I went ahead and set their pizza down and rang the doorbell. It was a contactless delivery, so they didn't want me to actually see them. They didn't want me to actually meet them at the door. They just wanted me to leave the pizza. So I did that and walked all the way back to my car, and just in terrible pain. It was it was really cutting into me. And then I got back to the car, emptied my shoe out, put it back on, and started to drive away, and realized that the rock was still in my shoe. It like clung onto things, so I had to pull over again and empty my shoe out. Just a comedy of errors on that delivery. But hey, all worth it for the $6.22 tip. Let's get some more of those tonight. Headed back to the store. I was only in the store for a couple of minutes, and I got routed to a 2-minute delivery. So I'll check back in with you here in a minute. That was great. That was only a 2-minute drive from our store and 2 minutes back. and it was a $20 order. They tipped us $5. Easy peasy. But it was 3 flights of stairs. A little bit of cardio. We need that. So, we can't say we didn't work a little bit for it. That was good. That was good. I'm starting to feel tired. My coffee and my Cheerwine soda are both failing me. Cheerwine doesn't have alcohol in it, by the way. I don't know if anybody thought that when they saw me drinking it, but Cheerwine is just a soda. It's just the name of it. It's delicious. Cheerwine 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. Very good for keto. Expensive soda in those glass bottles. You know, I initially found it, we were traveling in Kentucky, and there's a fast food place called Cookout that had Cheerwine on tap, and it tastes kind of like Dr. Pepper, but way better to me. It's like a very cherry Dr. Pepper taste, but they had it on tap and it was delicious. And then we came back to Texas and went to a candy store called Rocket Fizz, and they sell it there, but it's like, it's a 4-pack of them for like $12.99 or something, and so it ends up being $3 or $4 per bottle. And so it was a very rare treat when we saw it there. But then the other day we went to a little farmer's market, and they had 4 packs of those for $6.99, which is way more reasonable. So I'll be partaking of Cheerwine more frequently. I am back to the store now. I'm just gonna take a breather real quick. There are 2 other drivers here. I'm gonna stretch and maybe eat some almonds and peanuts, and then head in and see if there's a delivery waiting for me. Strange thing happened in the store where I routed an order to myself and it just didn't show up in my app at all, which has never happened before to me. And then so the manager exited that out and then rerouted it to me, and it still wouldn't show up in the app. So I'm just gonna have to tell her at the end of the night that I did take this order. It is only a 3-minute drive, so I'll check back in with you. Well, we got skipped again. I think that's the 2nd time tonight. It might be the 3rd, I can't remember. The guy said, "Sorry, I'll catch you with a tip next time. My daughter ordered this and I didn't even know it." I believe most people are doing the best that they can. It is 8:20 now, and I think we're a little over $30 in tips. That might kind of be it for the night. We'll see what else comes in. I know when I get back, I do have to do some wiping down of the prep and cut table. They have assigned everybody different tasks tonight to do kind of a deep cleaning of the store. And so my job is to wipe down the prep and cutting station. So I'll have to do that before I take off tonight. That last order was 2 16-inch, like extra large pizzas. And they ordered them New York cut, which, you know, that's a gigantic pizza slice when you're only cutting it into six slices for that big pie. But I guess that's kind of true to what a New York style slice would actually be like. Our New York, I think it's just our regular crust that's stretched a little more thin. It's just our regular hand tossed crust stretched extra thin, and then with no garlic oil. Now, why somebody would want the crust with no garlic oil? To me, that's what makes the crust good. So that's their preference, I guess, but man, it's the wrong preference. I'm back at the store. It's 8:22. Well, that was a unique ending to the night because they were doing like a deep clean. I think higher ups are coming in to check out the store, and so I had to spend pretty much the last hour. It's 9:30 now, which I was supposed to be out at 9, but I told him I would stick around to help clean. And yeah, I spent the last hour just deep cleaning the prep and cutting table, and that was kind of nasty. There's a lot of caked on stuff. I doubt that it had been cleaned that deeply in probably a year, 6 months maybe. I don't think they do it all that often, but yeah, so 9:30 I was out. So that last hour I got paid in-store wages, so I would have gotten $7.50, I think it is, for that hour. Altogether I made 4.5 hours of hourly wage, but I don't know exactly how that'll work out because some of that's in-store and some of it's on the road. On the road is $4.50 per hour and in-store is $7.50. So probably somewhere around like 22 or 23 bucks for my hourly wage. $31.32 in tips, $16 in miles. So altogether, that's around 70 bucks is probably what I'm going to make before taxes. So for 4.5 hours, 70 bucks, I think that's pretty good. I will see you guys next time.